Hello and welcome to another episode of Fintech Focus TV with me, Toby. Today, I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by someone we had on the show a few years ago now, right at the very sort of fledglings of the business. It's Mark Waters from AxeTrading. Mark, how are you?
Very well, Toby. Thank you, and appreciate you inviting us to talk.
Well, it's great to have you back on. I remember it back as one of the very first episodes we ever shot of Fintech Focus TV. So to see the company go from the acorn it was to the mighty oak it is now has been something that's been giving me great pleasure to see. Congratulations on the story. We'll come on to all of that in a minute because we're going to look at that sort of, we're going to talk about the funding, the journey, the sort of startup phase, everything like that. So there's going to be loads and loads of lessons which we're going to be able to share with everyone. But before we do that, can you give us a bit of a background about yourself and AxeTrading?
Yes, of course. Thanks. So my name is Mark Waters. As you said, I'm a co-founder and a director at AxeTrading. AxeTrading is the award-winning fixed income trading software company that enables market making, quoting, and order execution. And we also have an exchange software proposition called AxeChange, which is in use by the IDX bond exchange in Indonesia. It's a $215 bond market, $215 billion bond market. So we support clients all around the globe with our software solutions for fixed income trading.
Fantastic. And as I say, it was the small acorn when we last had you on the show, and it's been a hell of a story. Take us through that. So when we last spoke, it was early stages of the business. You'd founded it having had a sort of corporate career, or co-founded it once you had a corporate career. Talk us through that sort of early stages and where you are now.
I think the most interesting thing to say about that is that we were very convinced right from the outset of the proposition that electronic trading was going to grow, and that we were entering a competitive market, but that there was certainly room for a new entrant with something very innovative and flexible to bring to the market, which the market was looking for at the time. And we had to be very convinced of that proposition because it took a lot of effort, money and time, and significant amount of determination to kind of break in, if you like, to this space. Convincing a bank to take on your software for something as mission critical as their bond trading operation is no easy task, especially when you're an unknown quantity. But once we got our first couple of customers, then things started to move forward for us, and we began to figure out how to do things as efficiently as possible. And fast forward to today, we have clients in 5 continents with the ability to deliver our software without needing to be on site at the customer's premises. We can do everything completely remotely. And this also enables us to grow efficiently and to scale around the globe, and to continue evolving our software with the input from clients who are facing all different kinds of challenges in different markets around the globe. They all feed back into our development, into our product design, and ideas that come from one segment of the markets tend to have relevance in other segments later on or at the same time. So it's proven to be a robust model that's enabling us to grow.
So you guys have been in that position where a number of companies who've launched over the last couple of years are finding themselves where, as you said, you mentioned it there, it's costly to start up, and you've got those challenges in the client base you're sending into. It's not an easy sell to get people to trust that a new kid on the block to basically invest in their product. And that procurement piece has been the choker of so many different businesses who sort of have a great idea, have got something there which they've highlighted as a problem, but they struggle to get through the procurement aspects of banks and to get that traction that allows you then to snowball there afterwards and get out to all those 5 different continents and be trusted as a provider and build that credibility that you've done over the last few years. Tell me a little bit about what was important at the start of that journey and how you guys navigated that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, this has probably been said on your channel so many times before, and it sounds very simple to say, but it's actually quite difficult to do properly. And that is, you have to be able to understand and express the value of your product to the customer. You have to be able to convince them that they need that value. And you have to find someone in the firm who's willing to fight hard enough to carry you through their own procurement process within the organization. And that's basically the simple truth of it, is that without that, you're going to be faced with a very difficult procurement process that is designed to block unnecessary products from making it into the bank, because banks have found that once they've got a product, it's quite difficult to get rid of it. And so there is this obstacle that you have to overcome. And I think that once you understand that and can really clearly explain and articulate the value proposition to your clients, and I'm not saying we get it right all the time, but we are able to in most cases, that is the key starting point. From there, you have to be able to deliver, and you have to be able to show the customer that you are capable of doing what you say you're going to do. And that entails trust in the people, trust in the product, and an engagement that really is backed up by a team of people who know what they're doing and how to manage a very complicated process that can get tricky at times. And so, yeah, those are the ingredients I think that have helped us to get as far as we have done, the main ones.
I think there's an interesting thing you say there about the team makeup, right? Because the interesting thing about your background in particular is it sort of comes from a sales background, and quite often in startups in the space, you see a very sort of techie team who've got a product together who miss the sales aspect. There's an assumption and maybe a hubris and arrogance that their solution is so good that why wouldn't anyone actually pick it up? But that ability there to have someone in a founding unit who has experience in sales and value proposition and be able to explain and know the stakeholder value, etc. was a really interesting. Talk to me about the makeup of that founding team.
Yeah, sure. There was actually that was one of the key things that we felt was necessary at the start. So we had a strong technologist in our team who became our CEO, Ralph Henke, who previously built fixed income trading software at another firm and was ready to build the next generation of fixed income trading software with us. We had an experienced trader, broker, who'd been around throughout the early stages of fixed income electronic trading development in my colleague Dinos de Born. And I came from a background, as you say, in sales, where I was selling fixed income trading solutions and understood how to articulate the advantages or the benefits and to address the challenges of that particular market segment. So we felt we had the core team, but we absolutely couldn't do it ourselves. We needed a delivery team around that. And we pieced that together as we grew and as we went along. And so, with that founding team, we had a kernel of the necessary skill set. But as you well know, Toby, you can't build a firm on just the strengths of the founders alone. You need a solid team, and with every stage of growth, we've realized we need different and new and appropriate skill sets in our team. So as we've journeyed along this growth path, we changed the compositions of the teams, and we're about to do so again.
And that continues to develop. We'll come on to that in a second, because I think it's really interesting, really sort of self-aware actually of how you guys are developing from it as well, which you don't often see in businesses. There's quite a lot of bottlenecks in my mind where people sort of want to be able to do it all and they want to keep hold of the baby. I think you guys have been very good at recognizing which sort of phase you're at and what needs to be brought in at what sort of stage and where the expertise needs to be brought in to allow that to happen. Before we get into that aspect, I want to talk to you about the sort of the journey, and I know that we've had Mark Beeston on the show a fair few times. I know Illuminate were important in the early phases, and you've had Series A funding that thereafter. Tell us a little bit about selecting the sort of right partners for that journey for you, and how the sort of funding and decision making around all of that happened for you.
Yeah, that is, I think, quite interesting, and thanks for asking, Toby. So at the beginning, we started the company with the express intention of not taking on any investment, and we grew the company for 7 years without any external investors at all. That is based on our own ARR growth. But in 2017, after we'd been going for a few years, we realized that not only did we want to grow more quickly because the market proposition was clearly opening in front of us, we needed a different and a growing team. But we also realized that we needed the backing of a credible investor. So we spent some time searching out who might be a good partner for this. And there were a number of venture capital firms interested in our company at the time, but Illuminate Financial brought the backing of fintech capital markets domain expertise, and they were very specialized in that area and becoming recognized for it. They were still pretty new to this area, and they didn't have global recognition at that point. I think we were their fifth investment, and they'd looked at hundreds of companies by that point. But with them, we gained the backing of a credible investor who was enough to open even more doors at some of the banks. Once the banks that we were targeting realized that we had the backing of this credible investor, they began to be more open to having conversations about replacing core technology with our software. That was a very important learning point for us. So then we grew again for another couple of years. And in 2020, we decided to take on a Series A investment round. And we very specifically targeted the investors that we felt could bring not only capital, but also real door opening capability and introductions, and also the ability to navigate and guide us through some of the more challenging markets that we're expecting to go into. After a couple of years, we decided that it was time to raise our next investment round. So we decided to go for a Series A investment. And we deliberately sought out investors who could carry us to that next level of growth. We targeted investors who could open doors for us in the markets we were going after. And so we ended up with the lead investor being IFC, part of the World Bank, who have enormous reach across emerging markets, and two other investors who could open doors for us in Asia and in North America, respectively. And they've been very engaged with us since their investment. They continue to be so even at the moment. And I think that's something else I would advocate, is to not just look at money, although when a firm is in need of capital to grow or to sustain itself, obviously that is a primary concern. But look beyond the money, look to where you can have a good relationship with your investors, because they can be partners and they can really be advocates for your firm and help you to grow into the markets that you're seeking to target. So I think that's a very important message I would like to share with other founders and other firms going along a similar journey.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with this. This is something I talk about a lot, because there's been despite everything over the last 18 months, there's been a lot of institutional money put into firms, and some of the statistics we know behind that is a lot of that money isn't going to go anywhere. The success rate and the failure ratios aren't balanced in exactly the right phase. And I think that is as much on the company and their choice of partner as it is on the investor, hedging their bets on, some will win, some will lose. And I think it's such an important aspect to make sure that people are thinking about it in terms of, two or three things in particular. Is that business the right partner for them? In terms of how much are they actually willing to give, and how much input are they looking to have, and what's the partnership actually look like? Because there are companies there who don't recognize they're getting into bed with someone who really wants to have a seat at the table, versus ones there where they want to just be guided and have a sort of hands-off approach. And different companies need different things in that level. And the second thing there is what can that company do for me? So as you've said there, choosing the right partner can make a massive and seismic difference to your ability to speed up the process of sales, which, from everything I've seen, and read and spoken about with AxeTrading, has been, one of the big catalysts and fuels for the growth of the business. So I'm really intrigued as to, that beauty parade. Sometimes people think it's beauty parade of you going out there and trying to put yourself on show for the investment firms and the VCs. But actually, it's just as much the other way around as well. Tell me about your thought process about how you made the perfect, what looks to be the perfect partnerships for you.
I wouldn't say any partnership's perfect, but these are certainly shaped up to be, very suitable relationships, and you've got to work at them. So don't assume, it's like a marriage, I suppose. Don't assume that it's automatically everything is going to just sort of work for you. You have to keep the investors informed. They have to get what they're looking for out of the relationship, which is their returns. But provided you can deliver them that, it's also about engaging them in the journey with you. Because if they are the kind of investor that we have sought, they're very interested in knowing how they can make a difference and where they can play a part. And if you help them to understand that, and bring them into the process, they get involved in your journey with you, and we found that the investors that we've engaged with have enjoyed that partnership, and so we're very glad to have a foundation of a good relationship with our investors who have understood what we're trying to do, have bought into the proposition, and have been willing to make introductions to people who can help us or open doors into firms that we're targeting, or organizations that can be relevant for us. And all of these have been things that have just aided our journey along the way, sped up our journey along the way. And you've got to work at it too for that to happen. You can't just assume they're going to do it all for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is an interesting part of it, because look, the last 18 months, 2 years can go one of two ways for businesses: those who sort of shut up shop and survive it, and those who sort of play a little bit more on the offense, which I think is very much the sort of route that you guys have taken to great effect. Tell me a little bit about what the last 2 years has taught you as a business, because it's been probably the quickest phase of growth for you and the company. It's been an accelerant as opposed to a hindrance. Why has that been?
Well, I think it's really interesting to hear that. I mean, some firms obviously didn't stand a chance. I think you look at things like the hospitality industry and others. So the industry itself was clearly hit by the pandemic, but our industry, electronic trading, was actually boosted by the pandemic. People
Definitely.
having to work from home needed to sustain their trading workflows, their relationships, and they were being asked by their firms to actually do more through electronic channels, which was effectively audited, governed, audit trail available. So electronic trading was boosted by the pandemic, generally speaking, and that's reflected in not throughout the process. There was a jump and then a drop, but generally speaking, volumes have increased throughout the period of the pandemic. But they've also been growing organically. Electronic trading and fixed income has come of age, and it's certainly a marketplace which is seeing growth in and of its own in and of itself. So those are two factors that have helped. But I think being prepared to execute as efficiently as possible, to do things remotely, to deal with customers and prospects without being able to go on site and see them, and still to satisfy their requirements, to bring them upgrades, to sell them new modules, to bring them new products that we're offering. All of that has been also aided by the willingness to use things like Zoom and video conferencing, but also electronic delivery, which we had already to some degree perfected before the pandemic anyway. So we were in a way ready for the pandemic, even though we weren't expecting it. We were just fortunate, I would say, in that respect. But we designed our firm to be able to operate on that basis right from the outset, because it just makes good business sense to be resilient and efficient in that way. And we're still learning lessons along the way, and we're still adjusting and refining our processes. But that was one of the key things, was to have a model that can sustain business without needing to be on premise at customers is helpful, even though it is good to be face to face. And B, having the benefit of a market which it has its own organic growth taking place certainly helped us.
Yeah. And whilst not a birthright for that sort of thing to happen, I think if we go back to it certainly presented opportunities. And if we go back to March 2020, I think there was one of the big pressures, and I'm particularly interested in this with you as your sort of sales background, was it presented a sort of conundrum with so much uncertainty about what was going on. It was still not 100% sure that everyone would still, particularly in the banks and large institutions, be buying in the same sort of way. What was your reaction to that, and how did you succeed through that?
I think their initial reaction, if I'm honest, was, I wouldn't call it panic, but certainly a great deal of uncertainty. We really weren't clear at the beginning how badly this was going to affect everybody, whether firms would just shut up shop and stop trading. But the economy somehow had to keep going, and banks had to keep operating. And so they found their way to keep operating as well, which we can't take any credit for. The fact that they were able to keep operating was critical. If they couldn't, we'd have been stuffed. But as our clients were able to keep operating, so we found ways to work with them, and they were willing to adjust their processes, as were we, and we kind of found ways to collaborate. But the readiness of tools like electronic conferencing and so on actually made it possible to gain access to people that might otherwise have been difficult to reach. They were not traveling as much. They were having to have the same engagement that it wasn't like you had privileged access just because you could go and see them. Everyone was in the same boat. Everyone was sort of communicating remotely. And so in a way, it opened up access to some senior people that we were probably struggling to reach otherwise. It kind of leveled the playing field to some extent. And that helped too. And we were able to quite quickly recognize and take advantage of that, get meetings with some senior stakeholders at some important firms, and some of those have since become our customers. So the ability to react to that situation and take advantage of the opportunity that presented was important too. But I wouldn't say that that's the only thing that mattered. I think the fact that our customers were resilient, that we were resilient enough to continue operating and were able to adapt, and the world managed to keep going. Certainly we can't take credit for it, but we're very grateful that it did happen that way.
I think that there's people there who took the negative and turned it into a positive, and that definitely seems to be this nature of what you guys have done, and that sort of has manifested itself in a sort of sea of wins that I keep seeing coming up. I'm sure marketing played a fair amount of role in moving the business further forward over the last 18 months or so, but I'm seeing whenever it seems I turn on any sort of social channels, I've got AxeTrading with another award or another business win, etc., etc. Tell us a little bit about what's happened over the last year and some of the successes that you've seen recently.
Yeah, well, thank you for that, Toby. I mean, yeah, you're right. Marketing has helped. We didn't really have a marketing capability until we realized that was an important function which we brought into the company a couple of years ago. But that said, people have begun to recognize that we can bring to the market something the market actually really needs, which is innovative, cutting-edge fixed income trading technology that suits the needs of the modern fixed income markets. We are not trying to require that our customers stay within effectively a walled garden of the infrastructure of these legacy providers. We are bringing them open, interoperable, flexible technology that they need to meet the challenges of today's market. So to be able to integrate with a number of different tools that are coming onto the market from different business areas. So our software is able to integrate with things like smart analytics or order management systems or data providers or and so on without hindrance, and it's seamlessly designed to do that, which is a very important aspect of the product. It's that openness and flexibility that is quite important to our product's design and success. So that's helped, but also having a team that is able to really deliver the product, to design the product that we need going forward, to help with the management of the company. The people have been critical to our growth, the right people. And we have some really good, really dedicated people helping to grow the company, and everything from our customer support people who work tirelessly to deliver our software and help our customers, to our engineering teams who do a really great job of developing our product, to our product teams. So all of that has played a key part in our success. But having the right product for the market is key, and being able to express that value proposition is essential. So those are the things that have kind of got us to what we're doing today. But I do think the awards that we've been able to garner have included things like recognition for the innovative EMS or QEMS that we offer to the buy side who are trading fixed income, ability to bring our software to regional banks. So we've just this morning signed the largest bank in Indonesia, the largest private bank in Indonesia, I should say, as a customer. We're really looking forward to working with them. And we have some other exciting wins targeted between now and the end of the year as well. We also signed a new bank starting up in Australia who are busy implementing our system as well. And we're very excited to be working with these firms and helping them to innovate their fixed income trading capability. And we partner with them to achieve their aims.
So exciting to see that sort of spread globally, isn't it? And I know there's, as the company grows, I mentioned the word self-aware earlier on, which I think is a really important thing to say, that you guys have looked at it and said, right, for each phase of growth, are we have we got the right people? Are we the right team to be able to move that further forward? Tell us a little bit about what's happened recently. I know there's been some news, and there's some exciting things that are about to happen. What can you tell us about what's happening now? Sure.
We recognized that the company was reaching an inflection point where we needed to really put in place the management team, the systems and the processes to help the company grow to the next level. We're becoming a bigger company now. We're over 70 employees. We're aiming towards 100 employees soon. And that's a point at which you really need a different level of organizational capability and processes and systems to manage the company and allow it to continue to grow. And so we brought in an executive chairman with the background and skill set of scaling financial technology companies, also, with the good links into the investment community. And he is helping us to put in place some plans that are going to shape the future growth of the company at the moment. Some of these plans are still in flight, so I can't comment in much detail, but I can tell you that they will involve putting in place a senior management team that is ready for the next phase of growth, strengthening certain of our capacities in our regional centers, and also building up our core team. So really across the board, looking to add that next level of operational and delivery capability.
It's massively exciting. I know that you mentioned before, and you talked there about the importance of people. I know this is a big passion of yours about making the right hires, as you've gone and scaled for a business that's 70 and then 100 and all the different operational rigors that are involved in that as well. Have you continued to make it a great workplace for that, and not just attract the great people that you've had, but be able to retain them as well? What's been some of the ingredients you've learned there?
Yes, I mean, this is a subject that's very important to me. When we first started this company, one of the things that I wanted to do was to make a company that was going to be an enjoyable place to work, where people could be fulfilled in achieving their ambitions, and allow them to take a great part in bringing this company to where it is today and where we want to go with it. So, I mean, in terms of hires, the first salesperson I hired is now heading our APAC sales team and going from strength to strength out in Asia. We have brought in people who have supported our product, who have now moved out from their starting points, been able to move to their choice of location in another part of the world with our company, and that's been really exciting for them. We've also been able to give people flexibility to work in the ways that they feel is appropriate to their life. Where possible, we seek to do that, even before COVID. And so we're trying to match people's ambitions and their goals, their aims with what we can do as a company. And that involves obviously selecting the right people, putting them into roles where they can do what they are best at and where they can contribute and feel that they are making a contribution, and giving them the ability to grow within the company as well. That's very important.
I love hearing that. So listen, we've shot through time incredibly quickly, as I always predict these things do. It's been absolutely invigorating, inspiring, actually, hearing the whole story of how you guys have progressed over since our last conversation. It's I love seeing good stories, and I love seeing businesses do really well, and it's it's testament to you and the team as to where you've gone. I'm even more excited about what's to come next for you, and it looks very, very exciting. There's going to be people here who want to hear a bit more about it, I'm sure, and people who want to reach out and find out how AxeTrading can help them and their businesses grow. Who should be reaching out to you? Who should be talking to you? And what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Well, Toby, thank you for inviting me to be here today as well. And I've enjoyed it. I think if you're a person who's looking to work with AxeTrading, who've got some skills and capabilities that you think would match what we're trying to do, by all means, please contact us. You can reach us through LinkedIn. You can go obviously through the firms who you work with in terms of recruiting, and we recommend that obviously you have a good look at what's available on our website, where we publish every opportunity that we currently have on our roster. And if you're a prospective customer, just know that we are able to bring cutting-edge fixed income trading technology that is going to help you to meet your future challenges and to grow your business and to compete more effectively in the markets you operate in. And we've helped firms to transform their capital expenditure on technology, to open up their capabilities and to bring their branches, their different organizational strengths together more effectively than they were able to do with their previous suppliers, and also to allow them to bring in other systems that they want to interoperate with to scale and build the next generation of trading technology they need to compete. So we look forward to hearing from all of those.
No, there's a significant client roster that will back up exactly what you just said there to show it. It's been hugely impressive. And Mark, as always, a massive pleasure to catch up with you, to see you doing so well, and to have you on the show. Thanks so much for sharing that journey. It's been a brilliant one to listen to, and I hope everyone who's listened to it today has had as much value as I have. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon on another episode of Fintech Focus TV. And Mark, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.